Zacchaeus. When it was time to celebrate the festival of Passover, Jesus and his disciples traveled to Jerusalem. They were going to pass through the city of Jericho, and news of their journey spread quickly. "Jesus is coming!" people cried. Everyone wanted to see the man who made lame men walk and blind men see. A tax collector called Zacchaeus also lived in Jericho. Of course, nobody liked paying taxes to the Romans, but people especially didn't like Zacchaeus because he was dishonest as well. He made people pay more than they were supposed to, and then he kept the rest for himself. "No wonder he is so rich and we are so poor," people grumbled. When Zacchaeus heard that Jesus was coming to Jericho, he wanted to meet him too. After all, Jesus said that in God's kingdom, all were welcome. One day, Jesus arrived. Zacchaeus joined the crowd and hurried to the road he would pass on his way through Jericho. Zacchaeus was a short man, and with so many people lined up along the side of the road, he could not see over them, even standing on his tipped toes. Instead, Zacchaeus tried to push his way through the crowd. "Let me in!" he shouted. But no one would move to help the man. They all disliked him so much. Suddenly, Zacchaeus spotted some tall tree at the side of the road, and he had an idea. "If I climbed up there, I'll be able to see Jesus better than anyone in the whole crowd," he thought. So he ran to the nearest tree, then climbed along one of the branches that was hanging over the road so he could sit in it. Before Zacchaeus knew it, he heard clapping and cheering, for Jesus and his disciples were coming down the road. Everyone reached out to try and touch the man who they heard had performed miracles. Then Jesus stopped underneath the tree Zacchaeus was sitting in. "Zacchaeus," said Jesus, "get down from that tree." Zacchaeus couldn't believe it. Jesus was talking to him. No one in Jericho wanted to speak to a tax collector, let alone greedy and dishonest Zacchaeus. But Jesus was doing just that. "I am going to visit your house today," said Jesus. The crowd gasped. Jesus, the King, the kind, honest man who healed the sick, was going to eat dinner with Zacchaeus, the dishonest tax collector. Zacchaeus hurried home at once. All the way there, he thought to himself, I've made such a mess of my life. How come Jesus wants to spend time with me?" When Jesus arrived at his house later that day, Zacchaeus welcomed him gracefully and made him a promise straight away. "You know all of my sins," he said, "but still, here you are, eating dinner at my house. I am going to give half of my possessions to the poor and pay back everyone twice the amount of money I have stolen." Jesus smiled at Zacchaeus. "I came looking for people who are lost, and to rescue those who know they need rescuing." And because Jesus loved him, Zacchaeus made some important changes in his life, and he was very glad he had met him.